And the pellet, or this system is broken down more than the heating oil systems that are used in the other parts of campus, or have other parts of campus also lost power but didn't have backup?
It hasn't been down. We've lost a couple of relays. We've lost relays in other buildings. We didn't need that propane in order to do it. For convenience sake, we cut over, but we didn't have to. They're the most energy efficient buildings on campus. They're going to stay warmer longer than others. This boiler heats 37,000 square feet, all right? As of last year, it had never gone over 50% capacity. I think you already know the design load for those buildings is 10 BTUs per square foot at 10 below zero. So we put a lot of detail into making those buildings as tight as possible. So it's a system that works together. It's a great system. I love it. It's just like oil. But the bottom line is, we're also, not only are we using a renewable resource, but we're using it ecologically. We can be proud of the way we're using. Even if we were using oil or propane, we would be using it in a responsible way. And it has been, honestly, guys, a joy. It has not been. There's never a time we go, oh God damn the wood pellet boiler. A big change we've made this year is right behind you guys. The three-phase converter has been eliminated, and that's saving us about $9,000 a year in energy.
What is a three-phase converter?
This unit only recognizes three-phase power, and we only have single-phase power to the site. So we had to have it. We couldn't put it in if we didn't have three-phase, and we couldn't afford to bring three-phase to the entire project. I couldn't make it pay off to switch to three-phase power under our current construction contract, because it would have been a change order. So we had to wait till the project was over. We tried it for a year, then I went back and I said, tell me what it's going to cost to switch over to three-phase power, only to as far as the boiler building. And it was paid for in the first year, $8,300, I think. $8,300 to get phase 3. So now that's not on. Anybody who was in here before will know, you came in here, you would be like, holy shit. But all the heat was coming from that converter. We really stayed on top of it as far as how it's working, and we still do all of the energy monitoring every month. In fact, Scout's working on a spreadsheet now, building by building, to show the rise and fall of the energy use. We've used it to predict things that were going wrong in the building. We found things because of the monitors. So we monitor electricity, hot water, total water, BTUs in each one of the buildings. Remember, it also heats Deering Common. And we have a line going to CFOX, but we aren't using any energy there. We have a problem with the way the design, and we're working on it now, but we need 180-degree hot water to produce hot water to the Boilermates over at CFOX. And this water leaving here is 160 degrees, I think is what it is. So we'd have to increase the inefficiency of this boiler in order to use wood pellet heat in CFOX, and we're not willing to do that. So we're working on a new system now that will allow us to lower the temperature of the hot water. Therefore, we think we can heat maybe a quarter of CFOX with the remaining heat in here. And when we fix the envelope, we'll be able to heat the whole thing with it, once we make the improvements that we should make.
Cost of the installation, cost of maintenance.
Cost of the pellets right now is $168 a ton delivered. This is 250 grand. But you can't, there's no way, I have not had the time to sit down and work this out. We would not have designed this asymmetrical parabola roof if we'd known we were going to use this instead of the tarms. So the reason the building was built the way it is was because of specific boiler, because we had to vent it to atmosphere, because it wasn't ASME approved. I think 110 maybe, 110 to 120,000 maybe for this unit. And then you've got another, 70, 60 or 70 in controls and piping and
comparison to what if you would install like an oil system, in terms of what the overall cost would have been to install it versus installing this?
No, we never did look at it. Let's see, you could get a system in here, centralized like this, 25 maybe, 25 or 30, and another 60 in controls and piping. It's going to be more expensive, no question. No question about it. Very efficient boiler. I mean, you could get a very efficient oil boiler today, and you're still burning fossil fuel, though.
Yeah, which is going to be expensive.
Correct.
Will you have to clean out the stack at some point?
We haven't yet, but
Have you looked in it?
only because it blew out a couple of times. There was nothing in it before. We had a little bit of condensation on one of those really cold days. I noticed that we had condensation coming out of the stack and sort of freezing down along the sides. But last time it blew out, there was nothing in it. I mean, a little dust, but nothing major.
What about, there's this hole here that is open.
It's a barometric damper. It adjusts the draft, keeps it normal. Every boiler has it. It's either built in or it's on the outside like this. This happens to be a big one. So.
Well, a number of people who have home residential pellet units talk about problems with the feeding system. The augers clog up, and so on. You haven't had anything like this, and you haven't at home. Have you had any problems?
No, because I have a space heater. You know, it's a Harman 63,000 BTU. I fill the hopper and walk away.
He doesn't have an auger.
Well, I do have a.
It's inside.
Yeah, I have a small auger.
Is there anything about the design of this that makes this system that you think helps the fact that there haven't been clogs?
I think the size of the auger.
Just the size of the
Helps
auger.
a lot. Yeah. Mine at home, I've never had it jam. I've never had any problem with it. And it's only like that big.
Are there, different brands that are better?
Well, we only know from experience about the HS Carms. They designed that auger tube as a square with a round auger, so it had, in all the corners, it had room for air to go back through that. Mm-hmm. So when it was in pilot mode, it allowed fire to actually go back into the hopper. It wasn't a danger situation because it has a residential fire extinguisher head inside of each one of the hoppers. So it douses it, but then you got to clean it. There are many people who sell these systems. So you can buy different auger systems, and this happened to be designed from the top of the pellet silo to where this goes into this safety systems over here. It was designed by Patterson, and then after that was Wiesman from that.
A lot of people we've talked to have said that one of the big drawbacks to putting in a pellet system is the labor involved. It seems like one of the many pluses of this system here is that it's the delivery system. I mean, you guys, it's pretty hands off besides a couple maintenance things, you know.
Right.
So, I guess